are back. Thank you for staying with us. If you're just joining, you are on time for the first interview of the day. And today we're looking into to leave kuishi or to leave to exit. And our focus is on mental health. That's why we have brought M.D Njiru. He's been here before. He's an author, a stand-up comedian, and a speaker, and he has great experience in this area. He's shared before, but maybe for the purposes of those who are joining us today, for the getting to listen to him for the first time, they will get to hear part of his story. So, karibu sana, M.D Njiru.
Thank you, Steph.
Glad to have you with us.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, how have you been since we last met last year?
Yeah, I've been great. And so much has really happened, but I'm grateful to God.
All right.
The beauty of being an artist that when so much happens in your life, you get so much content, and yeah.
I can imagine the levels of the stand-up comedy that you're doing now, with experiences go over the bar.
Yeah, it's on another level.
Amazing stuff. So let me allow you to introduce yourself for the purposes of those who are getting to know you for the first time. As an author, how many books have you written? And so far, what's the recent one that you've just released?
So as an author, I'm currently publishing my 4th book, and it's called Skip the Rope, The Antidote to Suicide. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many other books have you written?
I've written
3 more. The three others. What are they?
I've published 3 others. But in terms of writing the manuscripts, I have over 10 manuscripts that are just there waiting to be published. Yeah.
Okay. And would you say that most of your books, I'd say that they're aligned to mental health and especially to suicide?
Yeah.
Why? Why is that the case?
So, yeah, someone else also asked me, why do I like writing about these morbid topics and all? It's because in my life I've been in a dark place. Yeah. And one of the things that I did to get out of that dark place is writing. And I thought to myself, if reading got me out of a dark place and writing got me out of a dark place, it's only good that I give back to the society through writing on the same topic. Yeah.
Wonderful. It's not many people that are able to do that, you know. Speaking up itself is a problem, you know, leave alone writing a book that will exist for years, decades. Yeah. So what got you to...
Speaking of existing for years, also, I don't know, I used to have this fear, I think I shared in another interview. I used to have a fear that I will die by age of 29. Yeah. Story for another day on how the fear came about. But I was like, I don't want to die like a goat. You know, like when a goat dies, after 2-3 days, it's forgotten, you know. So I wanted to leave something behind. I wanted to immortalize myself. And one of the things that I obsessed with was writing, because at least when you have a book, it lives even when you have left. Yeah.
It outlives you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your path, have you gotten to 29?
Yeah, we passed.
Awesome.
I thank God.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So fears are not, they don't really have, they don't have anything, you know, they're not really valid. They're just there to get us afraid and not to live life, right?
Okay. Not really. We will not say that they are not valid. Like for my case, when in another sitting, I would explain why the 29 and everything, and the near-death encounters. So most fears are not invalid. They don't come from nowhere. There's a reason why it's not age 31, it is age 29.
Okay.
There's a reason why it's not age 24, it is 29. So most of the fears that we have, they can't be dismissed, but first you acknowledge them, although sometimes they never turn out to be reality. Yeah.
Okay, I'm really curious on that particular story.
Yeah.
I don't know if are you able to give like a summary why the fear
Oh, okay.
was there?
Maybe I can share a summary of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my dad died when he was so young, at age 29.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I don't know why it stuck with me. I was like, I'll not live past 29. Then so many things happened. Some of them I've explained in my book in detail.
Okay.
And I've given the perspectives. Then when I turned 30, I shared that with my mom. I was like, I used to have this fear, but I don't know if it was founded. And she confirmed to me she also feared that I will not live past age 29.
Wow.
Then I have a younger brother, a kid brother, and when he was almost 29, we were fighting for his life.
Okay.
So to someone it might seem like it's just another thing, but when I go deeper and I start looking at the facts, there is a reason that fear was there. Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, especially for people who understand that life is spiritual, and things that happen before before can happen again, generational things.
Yeah.
But there's a way that you can stop it. You know,
Sure.
it can actually end if you're conscious of that. All right, now to live or to leave.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about that. What comes to your mind from to live or to leave?
So, to live or to live basically boils down to one thing. Sometimes, the human mind is designed to come up with solutions. So you come up with solutions to the problems that you have. And sometimes you have exhausted all the possible solutions that you think that you have. And at that moment, you're like, instead of living, let me live, And when someone takes their life, from my perspective, okay, I'm not supporting it, but a part of me really empathize because that person might be going through a pain that other people can't understand. That person might be going through suffering that other people can't understand or comfort. So the person is, what's the point of suffering for this period of time or this period of time, but at the end of the day, there's no solution to it. So I would rather end the suffering. I would rather end the pain. So that's the mindset that people have when they decide to live. Yeah.
Okay. And you're saying this because it's something that you can relate to, something that you have gone through yourself.
Yeah.
And I know you've shared this before, but for the sake of someone who's just seeing you for the first time, how was it for you, and how did you decide to live, to actually live, and not to live, exit, or die?
Okay. So it's not a decision that everybody wants to live. To live. And it's not a decision that you wake up one day and you're like, I want to live, to go. But it's a accumulation of factors. It's a accumulation of events. So it's not one event. Like for my case, I have shared that in my book. I remember at that point, so much had happened in my life. I remember the first job I'd gotten, I ended up in remand prison, having a court case. Then I got other jobs and I kept being fired. So by that time, when I was deciding now to leave, I had been fired like 5 times. I had a court case. So much was happening. Then I remember people look for hope from different sources or avenues. So I remember the first time I went to a prophet because I desperately needed
a solution.
Hope. Yeah, a solution. It desperately needed hope. People were getting different types of prophecies. Some people were being told they'll go abroad, they'll get married. and all those kind of prophecies. For me, I was told there is a river that's about to swallow you, and in front of you there is fire. That was the first ever prophecy. And I was like, eh.
Why a river? Why should...
So I was like, eh, why does God hate me so much? But I'm a very optimistic person. I brushed it off, and it was at the back of my mind. Okay. So when I lost these jobs, and many things were happening in my life, I used to remember that prophecy. Then,
which was wrong of the prophet to give that prophecy in that manner, because as a Christian, I believe prophecy should actually strengthen you and give you hope, and not to make you fearful. You know, he should actually tell you, but God is with you, or pray with you on that. So he just left it at that, and that became a fear. What did it do to you?
Okay. Prophecy, sometimes prophecy are not all positive. Like Hezekiah was told, you will die. It was up to him to turn his back to the wall and pray, and his life was extended for 15 years. So different people will get different prophecies. Yeah, but now it affected my life for a bit, but I was like, I think I didn't read so much into it. Until later, there was already, I was getting to date, I was getting to know. I hadn't shared anything about my life yet to her. We were just on the talking stages. Then her mom had a dream.
Wow.
About me. And the dream was, this guy that you are dating, let me put it in Swahili, because the conversation is in Swahili. Anasimama akianguka, anasimama akianguka. Hiyo ndio maisha yake. Yeah.
Wow.
So around that time, I lost a job. Then 2 weeks later, I was fired. I got another job. Then I was fired.
So it was an actual picture of how your life was at that particular point in time.
A total stranger who doesn't know me. And many other things that were happening. So I was like, what's the point ya kusimama nikianguka, kusimama nikianguka? That was my interpretation. Why suffer? Why fight? You know, there's no point of fighting. Yeah, there's no point of fighting a losing battle.
Okay.
So I was like, let me end it.
Did your girlfriend leave you at that point?
After the prophecy, what do you... After...
She said she wants someone who's standing
after her mom gave the dream, what do you think? She left me.
Oh, that was another burden on you.
She left me, then... I'm a very optimistic person. I'm a very optimistic person. I'm that person who... I know in Kenya we don't have death row, but if I was on death row, I would still have my hope and my faith that I'll beat it and get out. So after that breakup, I went into another relationship, but it didn't work out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you overcome now the thought and the desire to want to leave this world?
Okay. I actualized it. I reached a point and I was like, I feel like, God, you really hate me. I feel like you have a personal vendetta against me. So I want you to prove to me, and I was talking to God, I want you to prove to me that you actually love me. So, can I give the details? Or?
You don't have to give the details.
Yeah. So I executed. Yeah, I executed my exit. But I dared God. I was like, whatever I will do, when I fall, let me fall in your hands. And I'll believe you're there. Yeah. So, fortunately, or unfortunately.
Fortunately. We thank God that you're here.
Why am I using the word unfortunately? And this is something I've also written in the book. People are always told that it will get better. It didn't get better at that moment. But something changed. God proved that
He held you.
He held me. But the situations never got better. In fact, I went back to remand prison, and I had a court case for another 1 year after the ordeal. So it doesn't get better. You know, when people are told, oh, it will get better, no. But you'll get stronger. You'll now be able to cope with the situations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you become more resilient.
You become more resilient
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And in not all cases that you get a chance like yours where you put God to the test and you actually survive some. It actually becomes your end completely.
Yeah.
So
and to add on that,
do it.
the best, many years later, the best prophecy I've ever received is that God loves you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so after many years of battling with God, I was like, yeah, at least He loves me. So
you were told by another prophet?
Yeah, it came from another prophet.
Wow. Because God indeed loves you and loves all of us at the end
It's
of the
easier
day.
to say that. You know, when, for example, when maybe you have a job,
when everything is going well
when everything is going well, when maybe you don't have a chronic illness, maybe you've not lost a loved one, maybe when things are going well, it's easy to say, hey, praise God, God loves you. Yeah. It's easy for someone to say we are created in God's image when they're not being bullied, body shamed and all that.
Okay.
But when they're going through body shaming, bullying and all that, it's hard for them to believe we were created in God's image. So things are not as black and white as we tend to put them.
Okay.
Yeah.
But okay. Yeah. So in different situations, you get to question why you're there, if God really loves you, if you're a believer, if it's really worth living. Why would you say that the cases are now very rampant compared to how it was 10 years ago? Why is it that we're having so many cases? In the morning with my co-host Sakwa, we're looking at how a police officer committed suicide. You know, we have had many incidences of people who have died by suicide. So why would you say that it's now rampant?
So it's not rampant, only that the reporting has become more rampant. Now we have access to, we have more access to information, social media.
But do you really think so?
Yeah. So one, the reporting is so rampant. So that's why we feel like it's rampant. Yeah. Nothing much has really changed. It has been there, and it will continue to be there unless interventions are put into place.
Okay, because statistics show that the cases have risen, especially among adolescents, and have given different reasons for this. For adolescents, it's the rise in the HIV cases, it's the rise in STIs, in teenage pregnancies that have brought them to this particular point. And for the older population, it's the tough economic times that people are living in. You know, but either way, how do you think, from a perspective of someone who has been through this, then people should approach this, you know, because as you've said, it's not black and white, that as many people perceive. Then how should people approach this? People who have not been affected approach people who are affected.
So there are three factors that usually lead to people taking their lives. It's heart matters, finances, and health.
Heart, finances, and health.
Yeah.
And that's true, because the case in the morning, it's because of marriage issues. It was also because of I would say a toxic boss, and that cuts across probably finance and even the heart, because it still affects you, and of course you have added chronic cases.
Yeah. So most of the time, most of the time, the health factor is also affected by the finances. Like when someone is in chronic pain, chronic illness, they will usually drain their resources. So the finances and the source of finances will be affected. Then, rarely will people take their lives because maybe they are broke, they are poor. It's a combination. So it's a combination of the source of finance, maybe a toxic workplace, and heart matters. When you don't have peace at home and you don't have peace at work, where do you go to? You know, there's something called the third place. A home away from home. Somewhere you go from, before you go home now after work, after that toxic workplace, you go to that place. Now most people nowadays, they don't have a third place. It's work, home. And some people are even working from home. So home, the situation is not good. At work, you have a toxic boss. Maybe you can't even pay your bills. So when these factors are combined, the person now feels like they don't have any more hope and any more reason to live. So how can we approach it? How can we mitigate this? It's coming up with structures, you know, and people should actively, you know, most people, they're like, this thing can never happen to me. For example, when someone hears a husband was caught cheating, the person is like, it can never be my husband. When someone hears a wife was caught cheating, someone is like, it can never be my wife. So it's a high time we start realizing that whatever happens to other people can happen to us. So there's that acceptance. So when it comes to you, you'll not be hit so much. Yeah. So number one is accepting certain things can happen to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I go on
Please
and
go
explain something deeper? There is a story that a young man found his wife was cheating and he wanted to send the wife away. Then he talked to his dad. His dad was like, young man, there's no point of sending your wife away. And the young man was like, no, dad, I can't stand a woman who's cheating. The dad was like, okay, I'll show you something. Pretend you are ill, seriously ill. And the man pretended he was seriously ill. Medical doctor, traditional doctor was called. And he said that for this young man to get healed, a woman from the family who has never cheated should jump across this man, and the man, this young man will be healed. So the aunties, everyone in the family, they called a meeting and no one dared. And the traditional healer gave a warning. If you have ever cheated and you jump across this young man, you will die and the young man will die. So no one dared. Then the boys, the young man's mother asked, what if someone has just cheated, has gone out of wedlock just 3 times? Can they jump across? Then the man and the dad, the traditional doctor, and the man, they were left alone in the room, and they told the boy, you see, even your own mother. So sometimes we tend to take things like, this thing is only unique to me. Exactly. But it's not unique to you. It has happened to other people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Because it's actually what we were saying early in the morning, that when someone is in that state, in that depressive state, they feel like the world is against them and no one else can understand, you know, what they're going through. It feels unique to them. But if they just look around and open up, they'd find that people have gone through the exact same thing, some even worse. You look like you want to say something to it.
Yeah, so to tie it up, it's called non-resigned acceptance.
Non-resigned acceptance.
Yeah.
To me?
You know, resigned acceptance, and most people are now in resigned acceptance. I'll never get a job.
Okay.
I'll never find love. I'll never, they just accept.
Okay.
But non-resigned acceptance is accepting, currently, my wife has cheated on me. But what else can I do? Like I saw a case in one of the South African countries. A man took his life because he was told by his girlfriend that his manhood is small.
Oh.
So I know there are other factors, but that was
That contributed to it.
Yeah.
That was the one that...
What is non-resigned acceptance? One, whatever you have, you didn't give it to yourself.
You didn't create yourself.
You didn't create yourself. So that's non-resigned acceptance. That's acceptance. Then you can ask yourself, how can I use whatever I have to the maximum to be better with it? Now that is non-resigned acceptance. You accept, okay, she said that, but what can I do? Also, she said that, but there are other men, women out there maybe who
don't have the same opinion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah. So it's all about non-resigned acceptance. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, people have, when someone, you get a loved one or you know someone who has died by suicide, and you're like, I didn't even see the signs. Like they didn't. They usually say the happiest people are the ones, who put up a happy face, are the ones who take their lives. So how do you see? But I believe that there's usually some cries of help. As you said, people usually seek hope from different avenues, right? Then how are you able to tell that this person is seeking help without really saying, I need help? Yeah, that kind of a thing.
So people are always seeking for help, but everyone nowadays is posting, oh, we listen but we don't judge. That's a lie. People listen, people judge.
And they judge.
And they judge a lot. In fact, in my book, one of the things that I've addressed is most people, before they take their life, they usually seek for help. And most of the time, you not seek for help from strangers. You'll seek for help from people who know you. From people you have hope and expectations, they will bail you out of this situation. But due to different circumstances, sometimes those people not maybe be in a position to help you. And that's why this person who is seeking help ends up getting frustrated and they take their life.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a case, I know of a case whereby there's a certain dam at a place called Gitaru on your way to Kikuyu. I met a guy there who was about to jump. And the backstory is he used to operate a shop at a place called Rongeri on the highway. And someone came to him and told him that maisha imenisukuma nimefika mwisho. And he thought the guy was joking. And he was like, kama imefika mwisho si fanya tu venye unaona ni mzuri na wewe. That guy went and threw himself on an oncoming truck and he was hit and he later died.
Oh, no.
So this person had the guilt and he wanted to jump. So sometimes people will ask for help directly, but whoever you're asking for help may not have the capacity, may not have the capacity to help you, may not have the capacity to comfort you, may not have the capacity to listen to you. So even when it comes to help, it's another tricky area. Yeah. In fact, I usually advise people before Nowadays, I'm so spiritual. You know, when Moses was telling Pharaoh to let the children of Israel to go, it's God himself who hardened Pharaoh's heart.
Yes.
So nowadays, I usually tell people, before even you ask for help from someone, pray for them.
That God is into their hearts towards you.
Yeah, because the very people you may want to help you may disappoint you and
get you to that place where you are trying to not to go in the first place. So people seek for help different ways.
In fact, the best people to seek for help is strangers.
Why?
Some of these topics are so sensitive. For example, this guy who the wife cheated and everything. So when you are like, when I talk to my family members, when I talk to my colleagues, when I talk to...
They look at me in a different way.
In a different way, you know. But if I go somewhere where people don't know me and they talk to random people, you know, I don't know if you have ever sat on a matatu, especially in a new route that you rarely use. The drivers know people who rarely use that route. You find the driver giving you all sort of stories. Hey, mi bibi yangu siku hizi namshuku na jirani. So they pour themselves to random people.
Uber guys do.
Yeah, because the Uber guy knows chances of you and
them meeting again. Probably never.
So another technique of sharing is share pieces with so many different people. And that's why people go to drinking joints and all. Because when they are there, one, they'll come out of the shell, and now they will now start talking to strangers. Many marriages have been healed in drinking joints and other places.
Are you sure? Healed or broken? Now
healed.
I'm not sure if I agree with you on that.
Yeah, because you know,
on that we don't agree. But again, so you have rightfully mentioned that people seek help differently. Some may come directly. Even to strangers, and then you think that it's the slogan everyone is using, but that person is actually... So people need to be cautious how they actually respond to these things. And even a friend might come and say, me, maisha, and pelikam, you know, something very informal, but it can be an indicator to that person actually seeking, crying out for help in a way that's not... as visible, right? So, okay, what about going out for counseling? You know, as you've said, strangers help. So counseling, how would you advise them to go about that?
Counseling helps, and it helps a lot. Yeah. So there are places where they offer. There are not many places, but there are a few places where you can get free counseling and be helped. Although therapy in itself is not readily available and it's not very affordable. But
we have places where it's completely free. And even in churches that they give free services, or they can link you to someone. So that's something. Now, for someone who has been through this, you know how people who have been through drugs, they get well, and there are chances of getting a relapse, you know, if you do not take care of your environment. Now, how is it with people who have also gone through suicidal thoughts and who have attempted suicide and survived it and got better? You know, are there cases of relapse, of that sort of a thing, and how should you then protect your spaces?
So number one indicator of someone will attempt suicide later on is that they had previously attempted. So that's number one indicator. And like I had said, people are always told things will get better, you know. Sometimes things don't immediately get better. So that's something else people need to understand.
Okay.
Then it's the reinterpretation of the situation. You know, it's the interpretation of the situation. So how you will interpret the situation? Like for my situation, when there was that dream of nasimama nikianguka. I sat down and reinterpreted it. Safari inaendelea. Like I will fall and rise and safari itaendelea. In fact, before my attempt, the things that pushed me, they became thrice.
Oh,
yeah.
You got magnified.
Magnified.
But you got stronger.
But I got stronger, and yeah. Then there are things that you can put into place. Like nowadays, shameless when it comes to asking for help.
Wow.
Yeah. Back then, I had pride.
So pride.
Yeah.
Note.
Yeah.
Men take note of pride, especially men.
Yeah, but especially men. So I had pride. You know, even I was daring God. Where mwenyewe. In fact, this is what happens. God doesn't, you know, if God was answering, was going to everyone's case in person, yeah, it'd be a very tired God. So he usually uses people. So God sent people for me, but I wanted God himself.
Calm down yourself, I see you.
I wanted God in person. So nowadays I'm like, when I pray, I'm like, Mungu mimi najua uko busy, kuna shughuli mingi, maybe even my case is not a priority. Si tuma watu na uguze roho zao.
Wow.
Yeah. So nowadays I'm shameless when it comes to asking for help. In fact, I remember there's someone I was asking for help another time and they were like, nasiwa kuna kitabu ya mental health. I was like, yeah, niko na kitabu ya mental health, but I need help.
Yeah.
So be shameless when it comes to asking for help. You know, there's a quote I was paraphrasing Mother Teresa, whereby she says that be good, but people will talk, do what, So saying like, ask for help. People will screenshot you asking for help. People will backbite and gossip with your story. Hey, najua niambiaje? Demu yake alisema sijui nini, but ask for help. You know? So be shameless in asking for help.
All right. Oh, that is a good one. Be shameless in asking for help, because at the end of the day, it is for you. It is for you, and you prioritize yourself by asking for help.
You know, I have sad stories. Like, there is someone last year, someone I knew. You know, there are many factors. Let me clarify that. But one of the factors that made them take their life was that person had multiple loans.
Multiple what?
Multiple loans. Like
loans.
He had borrowed from many financial institutions.
Wow.
And he was unable to pay. So what happens is when you die, most institutions, they let off your loan because the loans are insured. You know? But after you are gone, the same like the family, friends, and what have you, they contributed so much that could have paid those loans.
All those loans, and he would still have remained with something.
Yeah. So even there is a saying among we are Africans, so among the Africans, that even when you die of hunger, people will eat
at your burial.
Yeah. So heriwambie, instead of before dying of hunger, tell them ile nye mngechanga temu ya mazishi tumieni saizi.
Nisotini tu sahi bana. Story tuende tu nayo. I think that is profound, really, because it just depends on how your outlook of life. So if you change how you view it, then it becomes different. So first, shamelessly ask for help. I am taking that home. Shamelessly ask for help, and you know, people will come through for you. If they don't come through, you tried, still continue either way. Now, some people feel that they become a burden to people when they they ask for, okay, not when they ask, when they ask for help too much, you know. I'd come to you, ask you for money because I'm in a financial struggle, and then you give me, and then next month again I'm in the same trouble, and then I come again with some relationship issues, and then I come again with some, I don't know what issues. So I feel like now you're tired of me. I've not told you, you have not told me that you're tired of me, but just out of a human, you know, thoughts and whatever, I'll just feel like you're tired. I'll just now keep it to myself and suffer, and, you know.
So, you have come for me for money. Sindio? Your relationship issue, don't come to me.
Okay.
Go to someone else. Spread
the issues.
Yeah, spread the issues. You can't burden someone with money, relationship, and everything. But even your relationship issues, you can't throw them all to one person. You know, you apportion parts. You apportion parts to this person, to this person, to this person. Yeah. And you're able to you get crowdfund for help.
Okay, that is interesting.
Yeah.
That is an interesting view. So, but these are people you trust, at least people you trust, because with emotional issues, financial issues, again, if they're blown into proportion, out of proportion, then they'll come again and haunt you, and you'll feel betrayed by the people that you trusted.
Yeah, so also there's that issue of sometimes when you share, people will use it against you and you feel betrayed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, when you're sharing, you can also ask yourself, whatever I'm sharing with people, would I mind if I had it out there?
Okay.
Yeah. Because people usually talk. Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. What do you think that people still struggle, even in this age? We have really tried to create an awareness around mental health, but people still struggle to admit that they're struggling mentally. Why do you think this is the case?
Take that again.
You know how we've have had discussions like how we are having discussions now, and we have created awareness on mental health, but people are still struggling to come out and say, I am struggling with mental health. I feel like I'm suicidal. You know, people are still struggling to just communicate that.
It goes back to pride. Yeah. So when you are, we all have a face to save. We all have dignity to preserve. But in that process of preserving our dignity, saving face, we become unable to share and ask for help. So if, I don't know how to put it, but if you can become shameless when it comes,
it still goes back to being shameless and asking for
when
help.
It comes to asking for help. And sometimes there are two kinds of help. For example, there are people who will ask, like we had a situation last year of a university student who took his life because he could not graduate in time and everything. Sindio? So sometimes when people are asking for help, they don't go like out there saying, you know, I'm suicidal, help me. They usually go like, you know, I need to graduate, I need help with this, I need help with this, I need help with this. And sometimes that help doesn't come in time. And we should, how do I put it? Another reason that makes people take their life, most of these people take their life are very ambitious. You get the point?
Yeah.
So a university student is hell-bent that I have to graduate this year.
So if anything changes, it becomes a pain point, a struggle for them. Okay.
But you can graduate 2 years later.
And it's still fine.
Yeah. In fact, where I live, shout out to Vincent. He's a guy who went back to school and graduated 20 years later.
Wow.
In fact, 20 plus years later, you're supposed to graduate in the year 2002.
Wow. Look at that. It's actually possible.
Yeah.
Let's not be fixated on things. Just be flexible. Leave room for disappointment, because in life there are many disappointments that come our way, right? As much as we're hopeful.
Let me add on the ambition part to drive the point home. There is a joke by Dave Chappelle. Maybe you can check it online. There was this kid who was asked, what does he want to do when he grows up? His student said that when he grows up, he wants to be the president. Then life happened. He ended up working at Walmart. Then after a year or two, he became a manager. He got married. Then he started asking himself, is there more to life? Like, after this, what will happen? Maybe I'll be the regional manager, Walmart. Then he saw that this path is heading to nowhere, and he took his life. Okay, it's a joke, but most of the jokes are founded on some truth. But if you go back there to the origin, is that this guy was ambitious. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious. You know, he wanted to be a president, but he ended up being a manager of a store. Okay. And if worked hard enough, you just become the regional manager. So sometimes some of our ambitions, we need to tame the ambitions, you know, because some ambitions, they will take time to come to pass, and some ambitions, like I even told myself, there are things that eventually I will not achieve in this lifetime, and I'm okay with that. Because speaking of ambition, would you rather remain married but die because of that marriage, or would you rather separate or divorce?
Would you rather separate or divorce?
Speaking of ambition, would you rather continue holding to a job and die as a so-and-so in that position, or do you rather resign and quit but continue living? So if you look back, by the most of the things that make people take their life are the supposedly strong points of life. You know, job, heart matters. In fact, I usually say that the greatest antidote to a suicidal mind is love. You know, if someone is loved properly,
you have no room.
Yeah, you can fight any battle. But the same love can also cause people to take their life. Yeah.
So it's actually there in the Bible. Yeah. It's strong. There's nothing as strong as love.
Yeah.
So amazing. Thank you very much, David, for coming on board and sharing this amazing insights. Where can people get you on your socials if they want to reach out?
So currently I'm active only on IG, and my handle is M.D Njiru 1. And also, I have another page called Maktaba Digitari. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you once again. So we have been talking of to live or live, looking at the rise in cases of suicide and mental health issues in Kenya. I hope you have taken some points from that, been encouraged of importance is to reach out shamelessly when you need help, and know that you're loved, you know, and the situation that you're going through is not unique to yourself. You'd be surprised that many are going through the same thing. You just need to go out and ask for help. So we're going to take a short break, and then Brian Sakwa will be back with another interesting discussion. Stay with us.